Hello and welcome to the second video in the series of tutorials for the Roland Aerophone Go. If you didn't see that first video, it's a good idea to start from the beginning of the series. This is going to really help you get better, faster on this great little instrument. On this second video in the series, we're going to look at connections on this instrument. The audio connections, the USB connections, and even how we can connect via Bluetooth. So let's get started. So the connection that probably most people are going to use right out of the box is the audio connection. Now it's down here, it says phones dash output, okay? And that is going to take a regular 3.5mm jack, or some people call it a mini jack. It's the same as, well, used to be on mobile phones. A lot of them aren't using the jacks anymore now, but it's a pretty standard connector there. And if you're just going to use headphones like these, all you're going to do is put that connection into the headphone socket, and that's it, you're ready to go. All of the sound now is going to come through your headphones. It's great for practicing quietly if you don't want to disturb somebody, or late at night, maybe even on a trip somewhere. You can just have the headphones in and listen without interrupting anybody. Pretty similar if you're going to connect, say, an external speaker to amplify your sound. Again, it's got to remain that same 3.5mm jack going into the Aerophone Go down there. And then I guess the cable you're going to use at the other end is going to depend on what you're going to plug it into, depending on what inputs you've got on your amplifier. They're all going to be different depending on which speaker you have. But it's a very simple connection there, straight from the output right into either your headphones or an external speaker. But that's only the start. The Aerophone Go can connect to other devices to make many more sounds. Let's have a look at how we connect to the USB port on the Aerophone Go. Now, as I said in the first video, you can connect to the USB port here from, say, a laptop or even external battery pack, and run the Aerophone directly off that. If you're doing that, make sure that the switch to the side here is set over to the right hand side, which is the USB power side. Now, if you're connecting to an iPad like I'm going to do now, you need to make sure that's on the battery side, not the USB side. Slightly confusing. You've had some cables that came with the Aerophone Go, and there's one there which is this cable. This is a micro USB, not a mini USB cable, and that just plugs into that port at the bottom of the Aerophone Go. On the other end of that cable is a regular USB connector. Now, this will go directly into your computer if you're wanting to connect to your computer and play sounds on the computer. But we're going to connect to the iPad, so we need an extra little connector. It's this, the Apple Camera Connection Kit, Lightning port on one end and a female USB on the other. That's going to connect to our USB cable like that. And then we can go straight into the iPad at the Lightning port at the bottom. So we've made the connection with the USB cable to the iPad, and now's the time to turn the Aerophone on into that middle position. And on the iPad or iPhone, if you click on the top there, you'll see it comes up with Select MIDI, and you're just going to select Aerophone Mini App. It comes up and says connected to Aerophone Go, and now we're ready to use these 50 additional sounds on the iPad or the iPhone. It's pretty much the same system if you're wanting to connect to your laptop or desktop computer. That same micro USB connector on the Aerophone Go, and this time the USB cable is going in directly into the USB slot on the computer. Now you'll probably notice if you've got your software already open that it might come up and say something like new MIDI device detected. That's because this thing is class compliant. It'll just pick it up automatically in most cases without you doing any other setting procedure at all. Now, let's look at how we can connect via Bluetooth. This is great on the Aerophone Go. We just move the switch, the power button, all the way over to the Bluetooth connection symbol, and you'll notice just after a second or two you'll get the blue flashing light on to say that the Bluetooth is active. Now on the app, firstly, once we've got the app open, now we're going to go again to connecting with a different Aerophone. At the bottom of the screen it says Bluetooth MIDI device, and now it's coming up here on my screen and saying it's not connected. If I touch on that, it will say connecting. Now it's connected. Back on the regular screen, it tells us connected to the Aerophone Go, and just in the same way now we did with the USB connection, we can use a wireless connection. It does come up and tell us at this point, currently connected by Bluetooth. Try using the USB connection if the sound is heard with latency. Now, on some devices, the Bluetooth connection can cause just a little bit of a delay before the sound comes out. If that's the case for you, you're better to try and connect it over the USB cable. We can also connect to a desktop or laptop computer over Bluetooth. It's pretty much the same system as connecting to the iPad. We use the power switch all the way over to the right into the Bluetooth position. We get the blue light flashing. Now here on my Mac computer, I've opened up Audio MIDI Setup. That's in the Utilities folder. I'm going to MIDI Studio and open Bluetooth configuration. Now you'll see there's a list of Bluetooth devices that I've had connected in the past, and it's asking me there, do I want to connect the AE05? Yes, I do. You'll notice that GarageBand has already come up and said that it's noticed a new MIDI connection. So any MIDI compatible software should pick up the Aerophone Go in the same way. I've used it with Contact, and I've definitely used it with MainStage, and it's working really well wirelessly over Bluetooth. And that's my connection done. I'm ready to play now the sound in GarageBand with no connected cables at all, just over Bluetooth. we've looked at 3 ways of connecting. We looked at the audio connection through the audio connector at the bottom of the Aerophone. We looked at USB connection into the iPad and into the laptop, and finally the Bluetooth connection into the iPad and into the laptop as well. So plenty of options there to connect you to not only Roland apps but other apps on the computer as well. I hope you've enjoyed that second video and found some useful information. Thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe and look out for the next in this series of tutorials for the Aerophone Go. Bye for now.